Let me guess. You've been going to the gym consistently. You don't skip workouts. You sweat. You push yourself. You even feel productive afterward. But when you look in the mirror, your body looks exactly the same. Same arms, same chest, same maybe I'll look different next month energy. Awkward. And here's the frustrating part. You're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. You're not genetically doomed. You're just making a few very common mistakes. Mistakes that don't just slow progress down. Today we're breaking down the gym mistakes that are silently sabotaging your results. The ones nobody warns you about. The ones that feel productive but do absolutely nothing. And before you think, yeah, but this doesn't apply to me, relax. If you train regularly, you've probably made at least 3 of these. Let's expose them. 1. Random training. Most people don't train badly. They train randomly. Monday, heavy chest. Wednesday, light arms. Friday, whatever machine is free next week. Completely different. No structure, no progression, no plan. If your workout depends on how you feel that day, it's not training, but it's gym gambling. Here's the problem. Muscle doesn't grow because you showed up. It grows because you gave it a reason to adapt. That reason is progression, more reps, more weight, more control, more tension. Random workouts might burn calories. They might make you tired. They might feel productive, but they don't send a clear signal. And without a clear signal, the body does nothing. 2. Ego lifting. You already know this one. But let's be real, you've done it. Everyone has. The weight goes up, the range of motion disappears. Form quietly walks out of the gym. Half reps become the standard. Your lower back arches like a folding chair. Dumbbells swing more than they lift. But your muscles, they didn't get the message. Muscle growth doesn't care about the number on the bar. It cares about tension, control, and range of motion. If the target muscle isn't doing most of the work, it's not growing. No matter how heavy it looks or how confident you feel. This is the part nobody likes hearing. If the dumbbell swings more than it lifts, you're training physics, not muscle. Ego lifting gives you an instant reward. You feel strong, you feel impressive, you feel like you're making progress. But it's a trap. Momentum steals tension. Poor form shifts the load to joints and supporting muscles, and the muscle you're trying to grow ends up doing less work, not more. The worst part, ego lifting often feels productive, which makes it hard to let go. But while your ego gets stronger, your physique stays the same. Here's the reality check. No one in the gym cares how much you lift. Your muscles, however, remember every sloppy rep. Strong form builds muscle. Controlled reps create growth. Cheating might move the weight, but discipline builds the body. 3's way too much volume. Some people believe muscle is built through suffering, so they turn every workout into a test of endurance instead of a training session. 25 sets for one muscle group, 6 exercises per body part, drop sets, burnouts, finishers, then finishers for the finishers. Physique unchanged. Here's the boring, unsexy truth backed by science. More work is not automatically better work. Muscle doesn't grow because you destroyed yourself in the gym. It grows from the right amount of hard, effective sets performed with intent. There's a threshold where volume stops helping and starts hurting. Once you cross it, extra sets don't create more muscle. They create more fatigue, and fatigue is a thief. It steals strength, it steals recovery, and most importantly, it hides progress. And suffering is not a muscle-building stimulus. Muscle responds to quality tension, not endless punishment. A handful of focused, challenging sets taken close to failure will do more for your physique than an hour of mindless volume ever will. When effort is high and execution is clean, your body gets the message it needs. Growth happens when stimulus and recovery are balanced. Too little stimulus? No reason to adapt. Too much stimulus? No ability to adapt. The goal of training isn't to leave the gym destroyed. It's to leave the gym stimulated enough to grow and recovered enough to repeat it. Train hard, but train smart. 4. Training like recovery doesn't exist. Here's a reality check most people don't want to hear. If you're not sleeping, your training barely matters. 5 hours of sleep, 6 workouts a week. High life stress, low calories. That combination doesn't create discipline. In that state, your body isn't building muscle, it's trying to survive you. This is the part people get backwards. Muscle doesn't grow in the gym. The gym is where you apply the stimulus, the signal that says, adapt to this. Growth happens after, during rest, during sleep. That's when your body repairs damaged muscle tissue, rebuilds it stronger, and restores the systems that let you train again. Without recovery, the signal has nowhere to go. Sleep is not optional. It regulates growth hormone and testosterone. muscle protein synthesis, nervous system recovery, motivation and focus. Cut sleep short and everything downstream suffers. You feel weaker, workouts feel heavier, progress slows, injuries creep in. That just digs the hole deeper. You cannot out-train exhaustion. This isn't an anime arc where effort overrides biology. When recovery is poor, training stops being productive stress and becomes accumulated damage. Instead of adapting, your body protects itself by dialing things down. Less strength, less energy, slower recovery. That's not laziness, that's physiology. Rest days are not signs of weakness. They are part of the plan. A well-placed rest day allows your nervous system to reset, your muscles to repair, and your motivation to rebound. It's what lets you come back stronger instead of just showing up again. Training hard without recovery is like revving a car with no oil. You might move for a while, but something will break. If you want progress, sleep like it matters. Because it does. Recovery isn't optional. 5. Program hopping. This mistake kills more progress than bad form ever could. It always starts the same way. You pick a program, you commit, you train hard. 2 weeks later, I don't feel different. So what happens next? New program, new split, new influencer, new promises, and the cycle repeats forever. Here's the truth most people don't want to accept. Muscle doesn't respond to excitement. It responds to time under consistent stress. Muscle growth is slow, painfully slow. Good programs aren't designed to shock your body every week. That's how adaptation happens. When you switch programs too fast, you reset the process before it ever has a chance to work. Let your body adapt. Instead, you stay in the beginner phase of everything. Constantly sore, constantly learning movements, and constantly starting over. And soreness is not progress. Novelty is not progress. Feeling different is not progress. If changing programs built muscle, everyone would be massive. Most people already change programs more often than they change their bed sheets. The irony, the most boring programs often produce the best results because they allow repetition, progression, and mastery. Consistency beats creativity every single time. A good program is one where lifts slowly get heavier, reps improve over time, technique becomes more efficient, recovery is manageable. None of that happens in 2 weeks. Muscle needs repeated signals, predictable structure, enough time to respond, not hype, not trends, not influencer aesthetics. The best program in the world is useless if you abandon it early. The best program for you is the one you can follow long enough to see results. Stop chasing new plans. Start committing to one. Because real progress doesn't come from switching programs. It comes from showing up week after week and letting time do its job. 6. Ignoring nutrition. You cannot out-train bad nutrition. You can try, you will lose. This is one of the most common reasons people feel stuck despite training hard. They show up to the gym consistently, push through tough workouts, and then wonder why nothing changes. The problem isn't effort, it's fuel. If you don't eat enough, your body has nothing to build with. If your protein intake is low, muscle repair and growth stall. If your diet changes every single week, your body never finds stability. The rules are simple, even if they're not exciting. No calories, no muscle. No protein, no muscle. No consistency, no progress. Training sends a signal. Nutrition supplies the materials. When you lift weights, you're not building muscle in the gym. You're creating damage and telling your body, we need to adapt. But adaptation only happens when your body has the resources to do so. Without enough energy and protein, that signal goes unanswered. Training without food is like trying to build a house without bricks. You can have the best blueprint, the best tools, and work all day. But if the materials never arrive, nothing gets built. Food is not the enemy. Carbs are not the enemy. Calories are not the enemy. Food is the raw material your body uses to recover, grow, and perform better next time. When people fear eating, skip meals, or constantly diet while trying to build muscle, they put themselves in a permanent recovery deficit that leads to stalled strength, flat muscles, poor recovery, constant fatigue. Muscle is built from calories and protein over time. The gym simply tells your body where to put those calories. You don't need a perfect diet. You don't need extreme rules. You need enough food, enough protein, and enough consistency. Lift hard, eat to support it, repeat, ignore nutrition, and your training becomes expensive cardio. 7. Training like an advanced lifter. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is trying to train like someone who's been lifting for 10 years. They see advanced lifters using drop sets, supersets, forced reps, intensity techniques, and 6-day training splits. It looks impressive, it feels hardcore, and it feels like the fast track to results. But for beginners, it usually does the opposite. Advanced lifters use complex methods because their bodies have already adapted to years of basic training. Simple progression doesn't challenge them the way it once did, so they need extra intensity and volume to create a stimulus. Beginners are in the exact opposite position. Their bodies are extremely responsive. They don't need tricks. They need repetition, structure, and time. Beginners grow best from basic compound lifts, learning proper technique, small, consistent increases in weight or reps, fewer total sets, plenty of recovery. When beginners pile on advanced techniques, recovery breaks down, fatigue rises faster than progress, strength stalls, joints ache, and workouts become exhausting instead of productive. More complexity doesn't mean more results. It usually just means more confusion. There's a reason simple programs work so well early on. Your body is learning how to move, how to recruit muscle, and how to recover. Every properly executed set is a new stimulus. You don't need to force intensity when your body is already responding. Trying to train like an advanced lifter too early is like using Formula 1 race strategies when you just got your driver's license. You don't need precision pit stops and complex tactics. You need time behind the wheel. Simple programs build the most muscle in the early years. Basic lifts create the foundation. Progression creates growth. Recovery makes it stick. Master the basics first. Complexity can wait. 8. Expecting results way too fast. This mistake crushes more motivation than almost anything else. Muscle growth is slow, not Instagram slow, real world slow. The kind of slow that tests your patience and messes with your expectations. You don't look different in 2 weeks. You barely look different in 6, and that makes people think nothing is working. But muscle doesn't grow on your schedule. It grows on biology's schedule. Early on, strength might increase, pumps feel better, and workouts feel smoother. But visual changes lag behind. Fat loss, water retention, lighting, and posture can hide real progress for weeks. That doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means you're in the boring middle where adaptation is taking place. Real changes show up after months, not days. That's why so many people quit too early. They train hard for a few weeks, don't see a dramatic difference in the mirror, and assume the program failed. In reality, the process just hadn't had time to compound. Muscle growth works like investing. You don't double your money overnight. You make small deposits, let time do the work, and trust the system. If you expect crypto-level speed, you panic at the first flat week and pull out right before the gains arrive. Consistency beats impatience every time. The people who look genetically gifted are usually just the ones who stayed when everyone else quit. They trained through the quiet weeks. They kept eating, sleeping, and showing up when progress felt invisible. If you judge your results week to week, you'll always be disappointed. Judge them over months, and the difference becomes undeniable. Progress is slow until it suddenly isn't. Stay long enough to see it happen. The real problem. Most people aren't failing because they're lazy or unmotivated. They're failing because their approach is broken. The biggest issues are simple but deadly: inconsistency, impatience, distraction, and the constant chase for shortcuts. People train hard for a week, disappear the next, then wonder why nothing changes. Or they expect visible results in days instead of months, and give up the moment progress feels slow. Another problem is distraction. New workouts, new diets, new influencers, new secrets every week. The plan never gets a chance to work because it's always being replaced. And then there's the obsession with hacks. Extreme workouts, extreme diets, extreme suffering. People assume that if it hurts more, it must work better. It doesn't. Muscle doesn't reward chaos, it doesn't reward hype, and it definitely doesn't reward extremes. Muscle rewards boring habits done consistently over time, showing up on schedule, training with intention, eating enough, especially protein, sleeping properly, repeating the same basics long enough for them to compound. None of this is exciting. That's why it works. Progress isn't built by doing something insane for 2 weeks. It's built by doing something reasonable for a long time. The people who succeed aren't special. They're just consistent long after motivation fades. Get the basics right, stay patient, stay focused. That's the real solution. Outrow. So if your progress feels stuck, it's probably not genetics. It's probably not your supplements. It's probably one or several of these mistakes. Fix them and progress becomes boringly predictable. If you want more fitness content that's honest, modern, and actually useful, zero fluff, zero nonsense, hit that subscribe button. This is Fitness Facts and Zero Fluff. Train smarter. See you in the next one.